come drive for us.
Yeah. Later on, you would end up racing against my dad as he's coming into the Cup Series. One of the things I never got to talk to you about was Martinsville. Dad's a rookie. This is this race just got uploaded on the NASCAR website, and so Dad starts right behind you, or a couple rows, 2 rows behind you on the inside, and dives down onto the inside 3 wide going into turn 1, hits you and 3 or 4 of the cars, big crash.
He goes, and we go down, I'm on the inside, I think somebody's on the outside of it. We go down and turn into the corner, and all of a sudden there's a hole in my hood.
Yeah.
But what happened when the race started, he just turned left, went up across the grass, and jumped the curb, and jumped right in the middle of that whole crap. That was my introduction to Dylan.
Yeah. I know that I had heard that at the end of the day you went over to him and stuck your finger in his chest and told him, right? That was a good lesson for him. I imagine what it must have felt like to have Richard Petty hunt you down after the race and make sure he got his point across.
I tell you, I don't know if he learned anything from it, but he learned some of it anyway. He knew not to knock everybody else. After that, he just take one at a time. Knock them out.
Yeah. So Daryl always tells a story about the figure. You know what I mean? But honestly, but that's the way you grew up. That's the way we all grew up. If you go out and the race is over, go find a guy.
Yeah.
Don't tweet. Don't text him. Don't call him. Just go find a guy. Talk about it. And I'm gonna scream at you, and you're gonna scream at me. But then it's over.
Yeah. It's just cool to think about Richard. Richard at that time was, he was king, right? With him, as competitive as ever on the racetrack, races and championships still, and having to, he never tells something you will do, having to go on the rookies out and how he does it. And I just love, so I did a big project on 1979.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I really enjoyed it because I learned all these little things.
Yeah.
Little stories. And so I love the idea. We always think about Dad similar to you, right? This huge figure. And I love thinking about Dad being this rough, raw kid that had to get, straightened out and needed guys like you and Donnie Allison and all these other drivers to.
He had to learn this.
So think about that though, and that's the fascinating part for me, because it's a different thing. So I grew up in the '60s going, and during the summers and hanging out and doing that stuff. So there was always, Bobby and Donnie, Cale, Pearson, Watchback, Leroy, Baker, all those guys. And then your dad shows up, and he's got a race against those guys, and they're still in their prime. You know what I mean?
How y'all doing?
So you're starting with those guys in your prime, and you got to go head to head with them.
Hold on, I'm just not seeing stuff here.
It's like that gold.
Yeah, I just cleaned the clutch. Just got back from practice a while ago, or play day they had out there at 3D. So just going through, just cleaning it out right now.
That era, they got to experience the coming of Jeff.
All that crowd came through. Daryl came through. Dad came through. Took over to another stage. Jeff comes in and takes it to another stage. Jimmy comes in and takes it to another stage. And right now we're looking for the next guy to take us to the next stage. Right now we don't have basically a leader. You know what I mean? We're Fox is out there.
Yeah.
We don't have a Fox for everybody to run at because everything is so easy now. You might run really, really good one race, and you're lucky to make the race next week, and so there's no dominant figure in cup racing right now. It's just
So think about that. So he had to put up with Buck Baker, told me one time we were at Daytona, and he said, or we were talking about some stuff. He didn't give me much advice about racing. That's pretty obvious. But he said, you know, when you come to the line in the race, if you just lean on somebody a little bit, sometimes it'll make them just check up a little bit. Not everybody runs over everybody all the time. So we're running a qualifying race down there, and I get in the AJ store, coming to the line, the boy store. I'm tickled crapless, man. I run like a fifth. He runs sixth or fourth or third, whatever. I'm tickled crapless. I'm just about to get out of the car, and my window neck slams down, and it's AJ, and he's standing there, and he said, "What was that all about?" He's screaming and cussing like AJ Cannon, and I got my helmet on, and I'm fading back to the other side, and I said, my dad always said when you come to
And get all this old grease off there. Because it was pretty dusty out there on the track tonight. I don't know if I'm. Let's see. What is this? Oh, I don't need that.
No matter how comfortable or durable your work boot is, if it doesn't hold up and perform on the job, it's not worth your hard-earned money. Rudd's innovative soles are EA-rated, non-marking, plus they're slip-and air resistant and high heat resistant up to 572 degrees, protecting both your feet.
I guess there's just 2 comments right now. Or at least I hope that's all there is.
That means better performance, better traction.
Because this is the first time I've gotten to go live, so I don't know much about it yet anyway. Still learning.
Sportsbook is here, and right now, new customers, they get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you bet your first $5. You just
That looks a lot better.
And then you can bet on everything, from individual race winners to prop bets to which driver is going to take home the championship, all on an app. It's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Start your engine with $200 in bonus bets, win or lose, when you place your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/Dale to get started. FanDuel, authorized gaming option.
Okay.
Right. Motorcycle. He's always had a motorcycle since he was 6, 7 years old. But he'd ride down the fire line and go across the road, drive across the road. One night he was coming back, and it was about dark, so he got out on the highway. And so happened,
I was 8 or 9.
so happened there was a couple of state, I guess the neighbors have been complaining about him. So
Still anybody here? If y'all's whoever's here is actually for racing, this is what I use to grease the clutch bearings. I mean, it's really up to you, you know, how you want to grease them. If you want to do a little heavy or a little light. But I try and get them pretty good.
Listen, we used to play golf up at the ballpark, play Little League baseball, and there'd be 6
On
or 7
both
of us
sides.
rode motorcycles to Little League golf practice. You know what I mean? I mean, because all the farm kids, all the rural farm, everybody had a bike. So
you grew up in this house. I've seen pictures of this house.
Yeah.
And trophies everywhere.
yeah, they were everywhere.
Everywhere.
They were in the attic. One came through that one day.
Yeah.
One came through the ceiling.
Fell through.
Yeah, because you pull the steps down, you go up, and there was just trophies everywhere. And there'd be on the rafters, there'd be a piece of plywood and the trophies.
Just kind of roll it on there.
Granddaddy had all those oak trees and stuff. Squirrels would get them. The attic, knock the trophies over, so trophies would fall over and come through the ceiling, come through the.
And just kind of.
Yeah, just stick through like that. So there were trophies everywhere. I mean, I cannot. I don't mean it to sound arrogant.
We hit it just a little bit.
It's just that there were just trophies everywhere. And I've told this story before. I mean, at that time, being 6, 7, 8 years old, and Sharon and then Lisa.
Hit the other side a little bit more.
We were just cocky enough, I guess, or whatever, that you didn't go to a racetrack, that you didn't believe that coming home there's gonna be a trophy in the back seat. You know what I mean? You just knew you going to Rockman, yeah, we'll bring a trophy back. Going to Donut, yeah, we'll bring a trophy back. You know what I mean? Charlotte's about the only place we never thought we was gonna bring a trophy back from. You know what I mean? Because that was like a struggle. But it was just like you just had them. You know, and they go to the Northern Tour and run Islip and Malta and Fonda and all.
Now, if you take these apart, always remember this thin washer
That's where they go. That's where everything went.
goes down first.
Where do you think most of that stuff is today?
You just take your bearings.
Yeah.
I might have went just a little bit heavy, but it'll be alright. Trying to prolong the life of this clutch as much as possible. If it's gonna be dusty like that tomorrow, I want as much as possible up in there, so it'll last pretty good. And just take your other washer, slap that dude on there.
So, what is this?
Now for this grease
Where was this?
on this one,
Right next door. So the
Still there?
yeah.
Who lives?
Mark lives there. Mark Petty lives there.
take it,
Yeah, Uncle Morris's youngest.
roll it
So
in,
it was
a
grandma's
little
house.
pressure on it.
He lives in the house that
That
we
way
made.
it actually goes on through.
So the house,
And
the
it's do the
house
same
that
thing.
he was born in and grew up in sits right beside the race shop. It's the White House.
Is it still there?
Yeah, it's still there. And the little brick house is right beside of it. It was
That was
1,900
his
square
house.
feet. Yeah, that's where me and Sharon and Lisa grew up with her mom. Yeah,
And so all of that's still there.
it's still there. Everything's still there.
Modern,
Yeah.
right?
It's still there.
The buildings, see, this is
Still
something
there.
I wish I could see with my own eyes. So the buildings are all still there.
Still there.
And
Trying to let y'all see a little bit.
is what's in the back?
But yeah,
the furthest
that's more than
place?
enough grease.
In my mind, I want to imagine that we could walk into one of the old buildings. You ain't been in this closet forever. You ain't been in this part of the
But
shop
yeah,
forever. You're gonna open it up and there's gonna be like
It's a good little
all this
amount.
old racing junk sitting around.
We got trailers sitting all
We got
over.
that. We take most of that and any heads, docks. They had some Superbird noses and
Are
some
you
wings.
serious?
Yeah, some original Superbird noses and wings. And then we built the kit cars. Had a bunch of kit car stuff.
Really?
Had a lot of kit car stuff.
All that stuff's still.
Still around somewhere in those cabinets and stuff, man. It's fascinating. It really is to go through it. Because I told you, it's just
We're talking about
you don't give anything away.
75 years of history.
Yeah.
History's still there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean,
It's physical. It's still there.
I mean, you'd start cleaning out stuff and you'd throw something out on the floor.
Just take your basket and
They were
slab it
like,
back.
That's a tow bar that we towed to Riverside with in
Of
57.
course, get your
58, you know what I mean? Something like that. That's just what we pull behind the old Chrysler way.
disc
There were
line back up on the basket.
And when Uncle Marsh was around, between those three,
Right now.
they knew what everything was. So Granddaddy and those guys, like Ralph, grew up in the Depression, so you didn't throw anything.
Put that washer back on.
Because you could use it later. You know, you're going to use it for something later. It might be a broke rod. You weld that thing back together. You might need an extra rod somewhere. You know what I mean? I mean, you got to keep that stuff up somewhere.
We still got the original floor and the original shop that they had worked out of in 1949.
Really? Yeah.
It started as a river shed, and we closed it all in. And he worked there till 1957.
And just
built a little shop
take your
57, we built another building. 58,
snapper
we built
in
another
and
building. So
snap it back on.
1,000 doors.
It's just add-on.
Just kept adding on as you need it. You know?
Yeah.
But we still got
The best way to check it,
feed skills that we used to scale.
you should be able to rotate it once it's back in the groove like it should be. You should have a little bit of play
The floor.
in it.
Him and Uncle Marsh poured the floor.
You can see it moving.
I was a wheelbarrow,
And
so it's like this.
this should have a little bit also. Gonna work it. Grease a little bit.
When you walk through there, and we did a
Oh yeah.
for a thing called Shift for NASCAR.
That dude's spinning good now. Yeah, I think I was a little too light on the grease last time when I
You watched the one. Thank you very much. So anyhow, so we did, and I asked
cleaned it and
how many races
did that.
And we figured what, 30 some, 40 something was the one out of that one.
Alright, let's see if I can figure out how to
That's not any bigger than that.
set y'all up over here.
40 some, 30,
Let's
40
see.
some races out of that one little building, just dragging it over the racetrack.
What kind of discipline did
Oh, let's see is the two comments, I guess. Okay.
so like
Alright,
Richard Petty never pulled the belt?
we'll get this back on.
Never.
Here's the way it works.
Also, I run
Yeah, you tell it. You tell it.
a 219 chain
I was the man.
on this bully clutch. As you can see right there, it says 219. And it's a 15 tooth. If you're wondering.
Yeah, because she didn't want to say, well, your daddy gets hurt, because when I came home, they wanted everything to be smooth, kids love me, I could get on the floor, you know, so she disciplined me.
And you got to think back, it's a different time, because the thing was, so he'd leave and might be gone for 2 weeks, really. You know what I mean, because they go race, it's not like it is now. You know what I mean?
Were you I know you were doing your own thing with sports and stuff, but were you like, damn, I want to go?
Yeah, so when I was in the 3rd grade, I started going during the summers.
Yeah.
Man, remember I had broke leg.
Yeah.
Rode in that truck we went to Michigan, around Michigan, and then went to Riverside, around Riverside. Did we come back to Texas? I don't know if we came back to Texas. 3rd grade.
So when you were in the racetrack at that age, what were you they took your garage and all that?
Yeah.
Yeah, they tried to throw you out. Gasway tried to throw you out.
Ain't nobody here, but that's alright.
You were in
Now, when you put this back on, you want that dude to be flush.
But you move tires around, but you just in the garage here.
I don't remember.
Navy would be there.
Hold on.
Navy started coming on. Ricky and Larry were there.
I didn't clean that up, I don't think. No, there's still a little gunk in there. Nah, hold on. But yeah, when you put these back on, just make sure clean that off real good. Yeah, nothing that's gonna get in there at all. Let me just slap you. Slap it back on there. About right where I want it. Just put your keyway back in. And just get that started.
and I say this all the time, and I told Clay this when we were talking about it. You know, used to have the azaleas around Martinsville.
And
Not fun outside,
back.
all these azaleas. It looked like going to the Masters.
You can tell my helper's working real hard.
They had that scoreboard down there. And,
It's kind of hard to do one hand, but whatever. That's all it is. Make sure it's got a little play. Oh, yeah. Probably a little hard to see, but there's the ever slightest amount. That's what you want. Because if this ain't flush, when you sink that down, you can split your drive gear, or the shaft that goes through the clutch. You can split it. So if this lip on the clutch sticks past, take you a little washer that fits in there so everything's nice and flush. When you sink this bolt on there, it doesn't split anything, doesn't damage anything. But now I got the fun task of putting this motor back down because this chain's so short, and I just being lazy about it.
You didn't leave. That was literal. Like, you didn't leave till the last person got out of the way.
Well, I think about it in the whole, when we first went, started going to the races, just being there when I was and, you know, we load and unload the car and all that stuff. So it's time to progress, and more people want to autograph. And I finally said, okay, I said I was going to sign an autograph. The guy got the truck all loaded up.
Bolt.
And then when they get things all loaded up, they come and say, okay, we're ready to go. So that's what we're doing.
The other thing is too, is like it was more like short track racing. Okay, when they go to check the flag, they'd open the gate under the flag stand, and race fans would just come down. Yeah, and you didn't have a garage area at Martinsville. You didn't have a garage area, so they just come to the park. We must have lost a million shifter knobs. And people getting those shifter knobs off the car and put them in their pocket. Must be a million shift, yeah. Gas caps off the back, all those things. Really, with just the safety wire on the way, it snatches anything they could take.
Okay.
They pulled decals off the front,
Really?
Yeah, you just take stuff because it was open game. Yeah. But he was builder Wilkesboro, and you got to go back in time again. There were 15,000 people there. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that was a huge crowd. That was a huge crowd for a cup race. In the late 60s, early 70s. It's not what it is. So it was a different time.
So you didn't. I love these stories, but I'm always keep bringing them back. You didn't ride race cars as a teenager, right?
Yeah.
And so.
Good.
Yes, I'm doing this wrong, but
Why?
He wouldn't let you.
Why wouldn't you let me?
They wouldn't let me. Listen.
I don't believe
they wouldn't let me. They wouldn't let me sit in the car and back it out.
I was shocked.
Why?
Yeah, that race car.
Why? You not wanting to become a race car driver?
you get the chain on
That
there.
was not the deal. We didn't know.
Get it back on the driver.
We used to work on wrestling. And we get all set up and stuff. I jump in and go down the road and drive over the county line, make sure that everything.
Key back in there.
And we was afraid that if
If you can't hear me, I apologize. I forgot my mic.
Okay, I mean, 15-year-old kid, hey, get out of the
It's in
restaurant.
the house.
I'm like my dad, I'm gonna go to Canada. So Dale wouldn't let him close.
They wouldn't let me. Yeah. I never drove a car. When we put that Magnum together and drove it down to the gas pump at the end of the fence and back and took it down to the gas pump and put gas in it and brought it back. That's probably the first time I ever drove a car.
The Magnum that you put together to go
to Daytona.
Yeah.
I'd never driven around a racetrack until I rode out a pit road.
So why your dad wasn't a strictness of clear type of father, they inherited this from him, being around him all these years, and Dale too.
Hope I didn't damage anything. Doing it that way. I don't think I did.
The job they were doing at the race shop and what was going on there, they were very strict.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Guidelines.
Yeah,
Bars
it was.
seem
Yeah,
good.
you had a box like we were talking about it the other day. Like when I first started, when I go I was
Kings
12,
and you
they
were.
sent me at the
I'm good.
sandblaster. They just, trailer, or we do springs, we do spindles, take off the spindle part of it, and sandblast it. And then by the time I was 13, I got what I Magniflex, which is a huge thing for it, you know what I mean? Run that thing, do that, make sure there's no cracks.
Alright, so
Make
throw that
you
there.
find the cracks, I say, man, I've done something, you know what I mean? And then they let me paint them, I do paint the parts and pieces and take them back. They will do the front ends, way to do the rear ends. You just take the parts. Then Richie taught me the wheel by the time I was 12 or so, working on kit cars and stuff. So they taught me the wheel. You just work in the engine for a little while, about a year. So I worked in the body shop for about a year, just in each part. Next thing you know, you're 16, 17 years old.
The kit cars, this was kind of an initiative by Chrysler to get into short track racing.
Yep.
My dad tested with Pete Hamilton out
Yeah.
of the Concord with one of the prototypes.
Yeah.
Which was kind of a big deal. Like there's a spread in a couple of stock car magazines and so forth around that. You can see Dad, and I've got some pictures of that day. And that was 74-ish, I think.
Yeah, 3, 4, right on that 5.
So Dad was
Early 70s. Yeah.
Dad had just started racing himself.
It was crazy, man. You get and to interrupt you here, sorry, but you got 2 boxes, two big
Giant boxes.
giant cardboard boxes with wooden floors, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And there'd be a frame bolted to the block, bolted to the floor, with a roll cage, and the bodies, they would already be tacked and hung on. You could get them tacked and hung on, or you could have them the other way.
It would come framed with the body tacked on it.
Yeah, and you get, and then in the other box was a block, and the rear end housing, and all this stuff. And you get a book about this thick, and you started at the front, just like you would in a car kit. And you went through it. And then when you got to the end, there was a number, and you called Chrysler. Chrysler had a hotline you'd call them and say, hey, I'm running, Fairway.
Oh, what do I do with it now? Oh, sit in the seat.
They would tell you what leaf springs to put in the back and what torsion bars from their calculations. This is a good place to start. And I think you got 8 wheels, and they would pay for the first 2 sets of tires that you got for it.
What?
You know what I mean? That was it was a package. It was a package deal, man. It puts you in racing.
Yeah.
This will put you in racing if you put this thing together.
How long did they do that?
Couple of years.
Yeah.
And I wonder why it stopped.
Yeah. So they sold a bunch of them to the Midwest.
Yeah.
We shipped a ton of them out to Iowa and
I think we shipped some to South America.
yeah. He had one. We had one that'll
You raced?
he raced against Jody. Jody really kicked her butt down in Rome, Georgia one night with it.
I know there's a picture of you at Caraway.
Yeah.
Racing the car.
He raced it. You raced it and Pete raced it. I think. Joe raced it.
Joe won some races with us.
Yeah.
So,
But was doing testing all the time.
right.
Yeah.
Joe was a heck of a driver.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He was. He started saying, that was a great rookie year.
Yes.
That crop was,
79.
has a huge impact.
Yeah.
That's like you in Kansas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's been rookie classes. That's like, I mean, there's been rookie classes that today was like dropping a boulder in the water. You know what I mean? It had a huge ripple. And then there's rookie classes that, just not, sorry.
No, it's good. That was pretty interesting around doing that 79 project, was learning about Joe and celebrating him, because he was, when you looked at the rookie class at Daytona, of course we didn't know, we're looking at Harry Gant and what we know Harry Gant is today, right?
Yeah.
He was just Harry Gant coming out of the short tracks back then, and he drove for like 5 years.
Lead.
When you looked at the class, you didn't look at Joe
16th.
and go, oh, this is the threat.
Yeah.
And he ended up being
Got
the
it.
threat most of the year. Ended up being
Oh, yeah,
some competition for that.
Running 219 chain, so whenever
For years,
you do all
and
this,
it would take
you
your
gotta
charger,
loosen up
like I guess your
your
third
sprocket.
charger, and run the sports races at Daytona with it and stuff. Y'all sold a lot of equipment.
Oh, yeah. He ran a bunch of races.
I said, yeah, you equipment.
Yeah, he ran a lot of y'all stuff, but you also sold to Buddy, Eric.
But they went that when we went really 78, went completely out of the Chrysler business.
why I'm making it hard on myself.
So he had cars, he had. Engines and stuff from and he was always a fan for me. And so if we had an older
Wait
car,
to lose.
you need a car, we'd set it for.
So, I may lose this motor mount back up.
And then we got out of business. He said, hey, you're gonna have to get rid of that
That's
stuff.
why I just sensed it down barely.
He went up with that. I think he went up with the truck.
Yeah, there wasn't,
Whole work.
there wasn't a lot of questions. You had Buddy, you had Jay Thomas from that thing when he was running for a while. And then John Sears out of down there, he ran that 4-bar out of it. The Green.
Okay.
So Jay,
Now,
and, NASCAR was just getting out of the dirt track. So we didn't have a dirt track.
I'll show you what I'm talking about. Now on this 219 chain, like how fine these are, you want to take this center split right here and put it back here in the middle. And you want to pour your motor to about where you want it.
Everything on the car was brand new. Brand new engine, brand new rear end, whatever. So we would give it back to him. And then for 5 or 6 weeks, he just changed all that. So he had a brand new car. Last year.
Wendell a bunch of stuff too. Wendell always, Wendell ended up with a bunch of stuff. He was always down there. Yeah, he was always down there. And then you gotta remember too, from Buddy and Jay and Wendell, we were the closest guys. You know what I mean? They just come across, they just come across the Virginia line and we're there, at Greensboro.
What was that like for you to be, I mean, you're at the racetrack and you're seeing these people, but what was it like for you to come home from school and see competitors and other people just meandering about, right?
Here's always, I love racing. I'm like you, I just love it. Yeah, it was, because it was like, you see them at the racetrack, but here they are at your place. You know what I mean? Marcus drove that little Honda down there and would pick up parts. Marcus was another one that had the Dodges, and he'd come out of Asheville and he'd get stuff.
Chain almost looks like it's bent right here.
Down there, Buddy and Joey Arrington, they were down there all the time. And you had Chubby Arrington and those guys, they were always in there. They were modified so up in Virginia, so they were all come down there. It was always cool to see other people. I remember, and I've said this before, I remember when he switched to Ford in '69, and we went to, we rode over to Charlotte, the home of the movies, and we walked in that place, and I was like, oh my gosh, man, even at 9 years old, you're like, this place is freaking amazing. We had this building, and then added this building, and then added this building. We got, European sports cars, we got Pearson,
Switch it back down.
number 17, they got all this stuff, and it's just like, I've never seen anything like that. So to go to another shop was a big deal.
Yeah.
But to have people come to your shop was really cool as a kid.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you one more thing. Joe Milliken, when I was in elementary school, drove our school bus. Yeah. We had the only, we had the only flat note. Remember, because we lived up there on that end of the county, and they got more kids. So the biggest bus in the county was at our end, and Joe drove the school bus.
Is that how he was introduced to the family?
No, they're all kin. They're all kind of halfway kin.
Okay.
Everybody's kin in some way, shape, or form up there.
That's wild.
Dalton, did you know that Fast Growing Trees is the biggest online nursery in the U.S. with more than 10,000 different kinds of plants and over 2 million happy plants? Yeah, I'm here to tell you. They have everything that you could possibly want, like fruit trees, palm trees, evergreens, houseplants, and so much more. Whatever you're interested in, they have it for you. Find the perfect fit for your climate and space. Fast Growing Trees makes it easy to order online. Your plants are shipped directly to your door in 1 to 2 days. And along with their 30-day Alive and Thrive guarantee, they offer free plant consultation forever.
It's nice because I'm a new homeowner, and so I don't have to worry about talking to a landscaper landscaper, have them charge me a bunch of money. I can get my trees directly from Fast Growing Trees for any yard project I want to work on.
There you go. This spring, they have the best deals online, up to half off on select plants and other deals. And listeners to our show get an additional 15% off their first purchase when you use the code Dale Jr. FastGrowingTrees.com code Dale Jr. Offer is valid for limited time. Terms and conditions. Command 1.
Harris Oklahoma Casino with all the benefits of Caesars Rewards opens April 9th. Get
Let's
ready
cinch
to
this down and see where I'm at.
This is Buick now. Buick, exceptional by design. It's all about you during the Buick sales event. 0.9% APR, $2,000 allowance on encore checks.
Spins good, but entirely too tight.
But Kyle wants to race. You know,
You see if I can just back it up a hair, or if I might have to loosen this back up or not.
What happened was, he kept coming for a race, and I said, no. Kyle's turned 18. But what he did, he messed around and talked to some boys.
I saw it loosen immediately.
I want to do this. I talked to your mother. She okay, you know, be all right. So, I think somehow he convinced his mother to let him try.
I promised her I'd go to night school. Remember?
sounds like the mom was
Boy, the night school,
Night school. I promised her I'd go to night school.
he promised to go to night school.
That's why the
night school. Day school.
no, because she wanted me to go to school. I didn't want to go to school.
Were you gonna quit school?
I was planning on quit school. That's going to night school. So I tried to go this job. It never got down. Let me just say, it never got that far. And I'm going to add to a business. Going to a business. Yeah.
Do something in school.
Yeah, do something.
Feels about right.
That's it. That's what I did. That's the same thing. Same thing. If you go to school, you can do it. And this is what happened.
And, you know, he'd work all day at the shop. You know, he had paint on it, then he'd go to school. One after third or fourth time that he went down there, the guy that ran the school called and said, don't bring him back, we'll bring him back. Went down there, they smelled it.
I don't know.
I smelled like gas. I smelled like academic. I went down there one time. You're just white for finding those.
What were you going to school for? Just whatever.
At that time,
These are all
my first
cinched
couple
down.
classes were math, and something else. It was some kind of business. So it's just like, I had to clean up. I'm getting there all the time. You know what I mean? I did my homework. I was doing my stuff, but I was a stinky
That
kid.
is nice.
No.
Yep.
3 or 4 days.
3 or 4 days. Couple of weeks. 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah, that's
Okay.
and they gave my mom.
Clutch
she
done.
never said anything. No, she never. I mean,
Gotta
she
hit
said,
the
okay,
bearings,
just go try it. I
got
said, if it
to wash the tires
I don't
still.
like it, then I'll go to school.
So you-
I promised her if I didn't like it.
Did you take this car and test?
Yeah, we went to Daytona.
Yep.
We went to Daytona.
And so,
We went to Daytona, Kenny Roberts was there. Remember, he was, they were tire testing motorcycles.
Right
Yeah,
here.
they were tire testing motorcycle tires.
and did you take your car?
No,
But just
one.
Yes,
Yeah.
you drove it?
Yeah.
He drove it.
I went out and ran it, you know, make sure everything was working good. Put him in the car. Said, okay, this is where you're supposed to be, you know, big bump, at that time.
You drove
Gotta be
around
in
the
the right
racetrack
place.
with him riding?
Yeah.
Him
Yeah.
riding.
We
How
were
fast?
193. No, seriously.
I got in.
We ran 193 with him driving. Hey, what did we run with Terry down there? With my brother-in-law?
96.
Run 196 with my brother-in-law on the right side of the car a few years later.
Just sitting and holding on.
I was on a car coat.
Right. Strap, you strap yourself, nothing?
I'm not strapped.
I was strapped in, had my
He's
helmet.
strapped in. Listen, I just wanted to drive.
I
Dude.
know that, I know this happened, I know
Yeah.
it really did happen.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is one of those things, kinda like when the kids, I would get in the car today and I'm like, buckle.
Yeah,
Tight.
yeah.
Just tight. David's like, is this necessary? I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I've been in a few wrecks.
Yeah.
But boy, I was laying down sleeping in the back of my mom's Monte Carlo
That's
driving
right.
around when
That's
I
right.
was 6 years old.
That's right. Same thing.
No seatbelts on.
So we jumped in. I jumped in the right side.
Okay.
Put the car cover in, jumped in the right side. He got in, folded in.
I get some water real quick.
The whole time he's driving, he's pointing and saying there's a bump. Used to be a bump here, but they just repaved it. Remember? And they just repaved. It used to be a big bump here. It's not as bad now. It's more of a swell. And he's talk about all this stuff.
Was there? All right. Now there's like I can imagine you're of course you're gonna get in the car with your dad, go do this.
Yeah.
And I get that. But can you admit in the back of your mind there was some fear?
So I'll say this with him, no,
Really?
no, because man, I want you to think about this, and you would have been the same way. You've seen him do it so many times.
I know,
There is
but
no fear.
I still would. The experience alone is scary, regardless of who's
This-
driving it.
Listen, after 18 years, I was here and he was here. I was this freaking close.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I was this freaking close to sitting right there.
Yes.
So it's like I'm not.
This is what it takes.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
And it was good. The scary part was, or not the scary part, the apprehension of going out by yourself was the deal.
Yeah.
You know, and what's this thing gonna do? Now that I'm hanging on to it, yeah. It's like having your flag. Yeah. It's like
Richard
having.
did climb on the car cover, ride in the back.
He wasn't going out. He wasn't going out. But I mean, that was the apprehension. You know what I mean? Am I going to be able to turn this thing when I get it down there? What's it going to do, man? You know what I mean? Well, I had no clue, dude. I mean, first time I barreled off hard. You know what? It wasn't easy or hard. It was just so freaking different than anything you have ever experienced. Never. I never drove off in the first corner at Caraway or anywhere, man. I never thought. So it was just so far out there you didn't think.
How did you run that race and not crash into something?
Well, they were crashing out of my way.
All right.
As I would get to them, they would crash. You know what? I had no idea.
Me and every other driver is going to get into that situation and run into something.
Yeah.
Right. There's something we're going to do.
So here's, honestly, and I say this, there was Ron Hutchison, Dick's brother, Billy Hagan, Rezak, and Phil Finney. There's a guy named Phil Finney. His nephew was an official for a while, and Phil had the best car. Yeah. He had the best car. They had something happened. Their windshield caved in, hit a seagull. I don't know. I don't know the whole story. I talked to Phil the other day. I saw him at Daytona, but he had the best car. But it came down to me and was it Rezak or Breezak, whatever his name was. Yeah. So it came down to us at the end of the race, and man, they were fast. Man, you got to go back and look at these Luminas and how these things are. I mean, they're bad, but Batmobile looking things, because you could run anything in ARCA. Yeah. You know what I mean? And and I ended up beating him back by. Did you pass on the? No, we were. You were just out. We were racing. You know, we'd race back and forth. He'd pass, we'd pass. But he was on the outside. We came across the line, side by side. Yeah, because you didn't just beat him. You know what I mean? I mean, you had to race for it. So it was just.
What you're in this race when the car gets loose the first time, right? Or
you know what?
Did any of that happen? Did you have these moments?
It never got bad loose.
Yeah.
It never got bad loose.
They just kind of repaved the race.
They just repaved it.
Yeah. It did have good grip. It had good grip. It just repaved it. They had to come with a different tire.
Okay.
Because they had to come because they were down there. So it had good grip, and it would never get loose in the sense of what you think of a car, or people think of a car getting loose, or what they would get loose. You know what I mean? Because they were.
I gotta find my tire brush.
But it was.
Right.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, it was. The fascinating part was to understand, to learn the closure rate. You know what I mean? To learn how fast you were catching some of these guys that were running 15 miles an hour slower. You know what I mean? And how the draft would just jiggle up, man. I mean, because all of a sudden you're here and you come off and there's a couple of cars and it jingles up, and all of a sudden you're in turn 3 and you're like 10 mile an hour faster. Now they're moving here. How am I going to turn this thing out? You know what I mean? I mean, there were those little things, and that was the thing. We spent 2 or 3 days. We spent 3 days. Spending 3 days down there by yourself just running and running. That helped a ton. So we were just there because, like I said, the only other person there was Kenny Roberts on a motorcycle. They go out and run, then they give the oval to us, then we go out and run and back and forth. So it's bizarre. It is a bizarre way to start. I'm not going to say it's not.
You win the race, you pull in the victory lane. What do you remember about your thoughts as that all happened in front of you?
You know, I don't know if I had any feelings or not. You mean,
I put a little bit too much soap in here.
how qualified, say,
I don't have actual tire cleaner at the moment. Just using some Dawn.
okay, here's what we're gonna do. Never been in a race. I want you to sort of take off with them and then drop back and let them guys watch and see how they drive and all that stuff. Put a green flag, somebody leading the green race. You know what I'm saying?
I know. I just went up to the gear.
From then on, there was no need of giving them any instructions or anything. But when the race was over and stuff, actually, we tickled different. We didn't run that far the year before. I had quit running because we couldn't do anything.
Soapy.
And,
The big, small, short, tall, for the
Yeah, but-
thinkers and the doers, for old friends, Coca-Cola, for everyone.
I'll wrap these off for a little bit.
Coke Zero Sugar is filled with real Coca-Cola taste and zero sugar. And just imagine those fizzy bubbles tingling on your tongue. The unmistakably tasty Coke Zero Sugar, America's number one zero sugar soda.
the car was really good.
It's real cool.
Good shape.
Yeah.
But just getting out of the dealer, going up on the scene and stuff.
I guess I could bring out closer, huh?
I don't know.
Oh,
He was thrilled with it. When I was thrilled about it, I was already I think that was
When you got out of the
And mom. And granddad. See, they were all there. My grandma was there, and that, we're back to 75 years, you know what I mean? You know, I didn't remember it.
There we go.
That's not a race. That's no idea. No idea. I was 18, man.
Did you
I didn't take a listen to being a race.
gosh, some of these bubbles go away.
10 minutes later,
Couldn't believe.
trophy, did you look over and go,
No, couldn't believe. Couldn't believe that it played out the way it played out. You know what I mean? I mean, you couldn't. And couldn't believe. So
What y'all doing?
7 days later, he's standing there. You know what I mean? I mean, it's the same thing. And I'm the tire guy. I'm the tire guy that day. You know what I mean? So you're back to doing your job. You know what I mean?
I remember I was doing the research for the 79 stuff I was trying to do, and they interviewed you during the race,
Yeah.
and you're like, I don't talk about it.
You're like, yeah, we're here for something else right now. We're here for this another race. That's a week.
That was last week.
That's last week, man. That's over.
He's like, I'm going to these tires.
I'm working on tires because that's what it was, you know. And it was crazy. So this is the fascinating one. Okay. So we talk about. To me, this is the fascinating one. So it's like you go to Daytona and you run a race, and then they're like, let's run 5 cup races.
Yeah.
I run one race. One race.
Got 2 bagels done.
We go to Michigan,
Soap everywhere.
Talladega, Charlotte, Montana. So at the end of my first full season of driving, I had run basically 6 races and nothing smaller than a mile and a half, right? You know what I mean? I was cut out big.
Now, thinking about those emotions of that first race, the win, and how you, the dynamic between father and son, and shift to Adam,
Yeah.
right? When he starts racing in Arca, and he's gonna go make his first cup start in Texas, right? You are different as a
Yeah.
dad.
Oh, yeah.
That moment versus him.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
But is he now different?
He's
Because
different.
he's went through this.
He's different because this is grandson. I was, yeah, and I'm sure in some respects that I'm more, I would be closer to what your dad. It's like, where did he learn that?
Yeah.
How did he learn to do that?
Right.
Where'd that come from? You know what I mean? And it was the same way when I started driving. There was things that happened that I just felt like I already knew. I've been on track since I was 6 years old. I'd watched Tim
Hello
Hayden
there,
race.
big guy. What you doing, puppy?
Yeah, in the Cup Series,
Yeah,
jump right in.
so I've just been everywhere. We were talking about the other day, I saw Dan Gurney win at Riverside when I was a little boy, you know what I mean? Because we went out there with him when Dan was driving that 121 car. So it's like, you just had so much.
Come here to photo bomb.
Somehow it just came out through here, you know what I mean? And that's kind of through your hands, and that's kind of the way that, the animals, what you.
If you're new here, we got kind of a zoo going on here.
During the summers with me.
All these dogs.
You know, and they just kind of came out.
It's alright,
But you look at, but man, to run.
Ain't nobody gonna bust up in there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That's what world of hurt.
And to sidebar here, my two most favorite, my two greatest memories in this sport is him winning Daytona in '79, because we went down there in '79, trying to test that other car, and it didn't work. We put that nose into the wash off. We come back, and it was just me and Richie and Steve, because we'd run out of money. And he wins that race, and then Adam's driving the ARCA car. We crashed in practice. We had to beat the rear fenders out, put another deck lid on it, and all that stuff. You know what I mean? And we just beat it out there in the garage there, man. And then he goes out and wins the race. And being a part of those two wins are my greatest memories.
I was more excited
Oh yeah.
with Adam
Yeah.
Charlotte than I was.
Give me a minute. I'm gonna go dump this and
Yeah, I was.
try and get to some regular water. Not a bunch of bubbles.
I was close to Adam every
Back in a few.
Because it was a different time.
Because growing up and doing things, I was so busy. This thing be his own man. You know? And when Adam come along, I had a little more time to circulate around and be able to eat.
Yeah. You go to ASA races with him and stuff like that. So it's a different relationship.
So that's really interesting.
Yeah.
So I know things worked out for you and all of that. Did you and your dad over the last 40 years or whatever make up for those?
Oh, yeah.
For that?
Yeah.
For that, you know, that sort of
So,
We're
disconnect.
closer now than we did.
Everything. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
him seeking out.
Yeah.
Him sort of taking you around. That was evident for me by you coming up to me and saying, "Hey man, I want to bring Dan on the show." I'm like,
Yeah.
"All right, well, this is great."
So I think, you know, I think, so and we've talked about this before, and I've talked about it with my sisters, and I'll say it here. So there's a period in my life that I was Richard Petty's son, okay? And then there was a period in my life that I worked for Richard Petty. And then there was a period that I was teammates with Richard Petty. And then there was a period that I went and drove somewhere else, and I was a competitor. And then I gave that up, and I came back, and I was his business partner. We went in and I had a team together, you know, in the early 2000s. And then when all that changed and went away, then I became a son again. So it's a full circle. It's a full circle. So the respect and love that I have for him has only grown through all that. You know what I mean? Because you see it through so many different ways. And I will, and I think part of that is, and you can understand this, is because you got two little girls now. But I will never get to experience that with Adam. And you'll never get to experience that with your dad.
Right.
You know, and that's something that misses. That's a hole. And you can't fill that hole. You know what I mean? But you can dang sure try with other ways.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that's all we ask in life. It's let's just keep trying. You know what I mean? And you know, he and I are closer now. We talk. I call him every night. We talk. He answers the home phone. He don't have a cell phone, but he answers the home phone. And hey, you call him at 10:30. I'm like, what are you doing? Eating. You call him at 5:30. What are you doing? Eating. You know what I mean? And he's watching YouTube, NASCAR classics on YouTube. You know what I mean? I need to grab you and we'll go to the house one night.
Watch the classics.
And watch the classics.
Yeah.
And have him do the commentary.
I would love that.
We were watching Darlington not long ago. And he's like, yeah, he's watching it and he's talking about it. He's like, I almost won this race. I think I cut a tire with 4 laps go. Bigger than fast, cut a tire with 4 laps go. And I mean, it's like, just remember that. It was like 61 or 62, you know what I mean? I mean, it's like 50 years ago, 60 years ago. It's still not, so that's cool.
That sounds like me. That's what I'll be looking for
Yeah.
Monday night. Doing the
576
That's what was really crazy for sure.
with him and Hale in that Oldsmobile.
Cause you had that little group that come through, and all the group that I came through, all them guys won 80 races.
Yeah.
You go to a group now,
That's crazy.
the guys won 15, 20 races, he's a winner. Which he still is, don't get me wrong. But that area is so much different.
Yeah.
So there's no way to compare what we did with what they're doing today, or what my dad did.
Well, man, I know you guys got a heart out. It is time for us to have to wrap up. Our conversation is as tough as that.
I thought you just got started.
We got 75 more years.
I know. We do this every week with y'all. I just want to say, man, I appreciate you, Kyle. You're just getting to know you over the last several years working at NBC and stuff. I've really enjoyed that, and I appreciate who you are, and I appreciate how passionate you are about things. I appreciate what you're doing with your dad, and you're putting a lot of effort, your own efforts behind celebrating the 75 years. And that's just a great thing to see. You're setting such a great example as a son, and trying to share with people and celebrate that name and history. So I appreciate that about you. The King, I love the King. He is the man. We talked about the autograph sessions and sitting out there and make sure everybody got an autograph after all the races back in the 70s and 80s.
I just got straight water, so we're good now.
For all the drivers, how to be, how to act, and how to engage in and outside the race car. Your value and the asset you are to this industry is immeasurable. It really is. It's impossible for people to understand. And I think it's great for Kyle to be sharing with you your legacy. I know, but it's important.
Yeah.
I knew it. I remember you being the standard and thinking, I gotta do that because that's what he did. And I really didn't, and I think that's important for this generation to connect with that. That'll serve as well. You serve my generation very well. I appreciate y'all coming today and sharing with us. It's fun talking about all those old stories. I know we can get into
Still not getting it, but
I appreciate you, man. Thank you for having me.
thanks for having me.
yes, sir. Kyle Richard Conway, Desert Down.
The Desert Down is sponsored by BetterHelp. Dalton, how's your
Could be better. Not gonna lie about that. It's been a busy couple weeks.
Yeah, busy. It can be draining after some of these days.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, therapy can give you the self-awareness to build the social lifestyle. Drain that area you can talk about.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of benefits to therapy, and one of those is that I'm in a place to kind of make sense of some of my thoughts, so I have more time to dedicate to regarding myself better.
Yeah, absolutely. I've given it a try. It's been super helpful for me. I think you've tried too.
Definitely.
Yeah, so if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule, especially busy work schedule that we've got. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Find your sweet spot with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/Dale Jr. today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Dale Jr.
All right, man, that was an awesome conversation with Kyle and Richard Petty. Autograph, anytime you get this autograph deal, you got your cool little booth memorabilia. I looked at what I had sheets of notes for Kyle and Richard. Didn't even, I knew last night when I was coming in here today, Kyle's gonna go. Just ask the question and girl, you're gonna go somewhere for about 15 minutes. I don't know if y'all enjoyed all the stories, but I sure did. And I'd like to know, I'd love to be able to talk to them about the father-son dynamic, and I've always been curious about that because, Richard Petty's an icon, and we build him up to be this certain thing, and then we never think about what type of father he might have been. So it's interesting to ask him about what it must have been like to come home from school with bad grades, being, working towards discipline coming your way, what was expected of him? I know Dad was intimidated, he was scared. So it was interesting to learn that, but then, how we take that forward to Adam and watching Kyle do that process of Adam becoming this race car driver and getting to that first Cup start in Texas, and how in love with all of that Kyle was. Kyle was right there just beaming, and even Richard had a look upon him, a glow, if you will, during that process that wasn't really there.
We'll dump this water. I'll be right back.
I don't know. It's pretty cool to be able to talk to these guys about these kind of personal things. They always get asked about racing and racing and racing. And so it's kind of fun to talk to them. I'd always seen that Fleet Petty car, that mangled up, balled up piece of metal that slipped down the back, down the banking at Daytona back in '61. I see that at the museum. You can Google a picture of it online right now and see what this car looks like today. And I've always been like, oh, that's such a cool piece of memorabilia. That's such a cool thing that still exists. I can't believe that's still around, right? But maybe they don't think it's that cool because it was a dark day, right? Anyhow, it's fun to talk to them about that and all the other things, and really enjoy that. I swear you could bring Kyle and Richard in here multiple times throughout the year and have really good shows. Thank you. I want to thank Alan for bringing us the guest segment.
It's bucket to travel.
I talked about it with Kyle, and he became a friend. New Kyle,
Okay.
right?
Really all that's left.
Friend up until we started working together at ABC, and just getting to know really who he is, the person he is, has been.
Let them dry a little bit.
And so thank you, Kyle, for bringing in these out.
Scuff them on good time.
What you're saving for?
Probably. Oh yeah, my bad, Will. I didn't see your comments, buddy. Yeah, it's practice tonight. Let's see.
For the thinkers and the doers, for old friends, Coca-Cola, for everyone.
All right, so we covered it yesterday. In case you haven't heard that episode, on Monday, Teardown Drop with Jeff Gluck and Jordan Bianchi. Jeff Gluck goes on a terrific rant about his frustrations over what he saw.
I'm also trying to figure this stuff out. Sorry.
He feels bad about it.
What is
There you go. Give him a little
What's
hug.
this?
I ain't looking back. Watch the rant. Tell him what you think. Action's detrimental with Denny Hamlin.
Anyway,
Also,
I'm gonna let these dry.
short track racing.
Start hitting everything with
Even though Denny's
good old triflow. So,
can get pretty animated. There's some good information.
get y'all set back up over here.
There's a lot of
Tire
areas
table.
around how to fix the short track package, and I think everybody's got a little
There you go.
hint of an answer in their comments, as does Denny. Door bumper clear. Those guys hammer it every week. The spotters go after a lot of topics going on in the sport, and always.
I feel kind of bad. I missed that comment now.
Listen, a lot of good information in there too, but
If his live stream does pop back up and you come back in here, it will. Yeah, it was his practice
yesterday
tonight.
our Dirty Air show that's out now. We had fun. We had Lee Byron called the winner of the race. We had Sadie Whitaker with the drop announcement, and we gave our opinions about what we saw this past weekend at Martinsville. Speed Street and Connor David drops today in case Holden. There's a lot of things going on in the e-car world and the honor world, as a matter of fact. So if you want to get updated on everything happening there, and dropping Friday, usually get your hotel Friday on Thursdays. This week it's Friday. It's hard to busy. Dude has a light. Unfortunately, very low goes. You'll have to wait. But he's going to give you his preview of Texas. So that'll be pretty fun. And also the Max golf tournament. Steve is in love with. Kind of hear what he's got to say about what he thinks gonna go on down at the back. DJD Reloaded comes out every Thursday.
Bearings are usually
Carla and my sister had
Well,
a
easy
stack
clean,
line of
but-
drivers on the show last week. Mark Martin, Michael Waltrip, Austin Cindric. They all
Gotta
talked
hit 'em
about their
still.
first starts in NASCAR. It's a great show. Every week this show.
Just
Had
make
tons
sure
of
they got
variety.
something in there.
Carl's done an amazing job taking ownership of the show. And I really enjoy not only listening to the full DJD Reloaded, but the clips you guys are pushing out here during the media. It's a fun show to listen to. So that's what we got going on this week. And
Boy, smack the fire out of my thumb. I
I'm
know
going
that.
to Jacksonville, North Carolina to race the Cars Tour Late Model Stocks. That's going to be a tall.
There you go.
order, but I am really looking forward to it. We'll see.
Oh. Oh.
DJ, we're leaving. There's one little spice in there. I think I'm gonna stay.
Look at all these bearings will be it.
When I'm talking to my old spice, not you.
Yeah, everything's a little. Just so it glides good tomorrow. Throw a little bit in the throttle cable line. Just a little bit.
Dale, we're in Austin, Texas, at the Flow Sports corporate headquarters. So I'm going to start with a little bit of a flow-related question. You work for a media company. You spend a ton of time, obviously, broadcasting motorsports. Things have changed a lot in the world of broadcasting, especially in motorsports in the last 5 or 6 years. Is you kind
Yeah,
of
the
take a
fuel
step back
setup,
and
I didn't
particularly
just
from a
pump a
flow
bunch of fuel
perspective,
or anything.
how do you see flow fitting into the world?
Don't worry about
How do you
that.
think we're doing? Just from your lens, 20,000-foot view, assess flow in this current landscape of motorsports. Well, it's a long question, but or long answer actually. So probably let's go back about 10 years. I was curious as a fan of motorsports, particularly
Really?
a fan of short track racing. Always
There it
curious
is.
about who was racing where, who was finishing where, how this local was doing at Langley, how this other guy might be doing down at Florida, South Carolina. Who was racing at all of the tracks that I was familiar with and how they were doing week to week. And we really had no way of knowing, no way of viewing, no way of seeing any of that. And I stumbled upon Flow, and you had acquired the opportunity to stream live action. Basically,
I do race tomorrow.
top of the press box at Langley, and you piped into the.
Yeah, I do got a big dog pit
or
crew.
the
I think he went in the house.
announcer, and it was incredible. I couldn't
So I
believe
think
that I
two
had
men here.
this
No, he
access
went in the house a while ago
that I
too.
never had before. And fast forward
So
to
yeah, they all
today,
went in the house a while ago.
any given
But
weekend,
I'm gonna let the tires dry for a little while.
races
Pretty much.
to see how not only
I feel like I'm
the
forgetting
doing,
to
but
clean
also
something.
watch the Cherry Series like the Cars Tour.
I got the clutch completely cleaned. Hit everything with Tri-Flow.
That this has provided, I think it's something, and I say it quite often. I think we really
Just
should
blew all the dust off everything on the chassis and stuff. I'll
Years ago, we
detail it
didn't have the
over the
ability
week.
to
I ain't
be able
gonna
to
do it
see
tonight.
these
There's no
competitions
point in
that
it.
race
'Cause it's
back.
gonna be just as dirty tomorrow.
You had to hear secondhand about how this local hero had been beaten by the young kids.
I guess I just need to charge the tack and
It's a lot of fun, and I think that Flow's embrace. Flow was one
oh
of the
yeah.
very first streaming
I need to do my
platforms that
GoPro. I need to do my
embraced
videos.
the regional local
Um,
show. And so I have
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect and appreciation
Except
for Flow
this.
because of that. And
There.
it's become a great home for the Cars Tour. So and I think
Let's see. So that's pretty much what I'm gonna do for right now.
finding it's
I think I'll get up. I get up about 3 o'clock in the morning anyway, so I'm just gonna call it a night. And once I get up about 4 or 5, I'll come out here and scuff some tires and hit them with prep. That way they've had a good night to dry by themselves. And charge this tack throughout the day. Because I just probably still like 80% probably. What do we got?
I'm feeling very fortunate, I think, as a Cars Tour Series owner, to be
Yeah,
able to front end
80 exactly.
this
55 degrees in there.
streaming. So I think that we're right where we need to be, right where
Yeah, we'll be alright.
we have about 2,000
I'll charge it up a little bit tomorrow and
Obviously, most locked in.
I'm gonna get this video started and
Do you have a recollection of maybe
whatnot.
the weirdest motorsports thing
So
or stunt flow? Was it a snowmobile race? Do you ever have one night where you're like, I didn't even know they had that, and this was kind of crazy? Yeah,
let's do it out of here now. Come on.
Yeah,
Give me the camera.
but there are some very, I mean, you
Kinda
guys
do one now.
provide,
Hold on.
so many different sports and so many different levels, you know, from high school.
I didn't drop it.
Obscure colleges. I was watching football the other day. Some teams.
I'm gonna take it soon, go charge it.
And so it's
Clean the helmet in the morning.
a lot of
Need to find a bottle,
one of them is to be able
a
to
different bottle for that
service,
stuff.
certain communities and be able to access the game.
Oil's good because it's fresh. I put it in
Away,
yesterday
local race at a track
or the
that's,
day
you know,
before,
6
whenever.
hours away. And so
Did the clutch,
that y'all provide is
hit the bearings, hit everything else.
Snowmobile racing is probably one of the more obscure
Brakes are good.
that I've seen. I think ice racing. There's all
Throttle's
kinds of
good.
random stuff on there from time to time. Those guys are nuts, by the way. Yeah, they are. Yeah, it's very physical.
Yeah.
Let me start
I'm gonna
here
call
with
it.
a few random questions about
I'm
motorsports.
gonna go
What
get
is
started on this
you about Ford
video
Race
practice today and then
I'll leave it there. What's
go to
the
bed
energy
and
about
pick this
Ford
back up in the
Racing?
morning. I'll go live in the morning whenever I do this. So y'all take care.
Asphalt and dirt, sprint car, world outlaw, all types of different. I mean, I'm growing up.